Hi, I'm Matt Rosu, Dean of the Sigmund Weis School of Business and a professor of economics at Susquehanna University. This video, we have a short segment from a presentation from John Strangfeld, a retired CEO of Prudential, on leadership. And his segment on this clip is just under 6 minutes, but it provides some of the most amazing leadership lessons you will find anywhere. Truly remarkable. Going to play the clip in just a moment, and then I'm going to come back and I want to highlight 3 things that I think everybody can learn from this very short clip that's really powerful. If you do like this video, please click like and subscribe. It will help out the channel. It will help more people see this and some of the other content that I produce. Now on to John Strangfeld, retired CEO from Prudential.
So I want to touch on one other thing regarding leadership and one of my own personal experiences, because I think this is different than what people might perceive, and it shows you the richness that's possible when you make sure that you're not just focused on yourself. I don't think any good leader can be very effective if it's about self. It has to be thought of in broader terms, whether it's your direct colleagues and certainly more broadly in an organization. A lot of people presume that the climb to the top is a dog-eat-dog Machiavellian thing, and whatever's at your gain is at someone's disadvantage. I suppose that can be true, but it certainly doesn't have to be. And I'm going to tell you my own story. In particular, what preceded me becoming the CEO of Pro. Back in '06, my predecessor was approaching retirement, and the issue arising for the Prudential board was one of CEO succession. The board began with 4 candidates, and then they quickly narrowed it down to 2, myself and a colleague named Mark. And the board then took a good while to decide. They liked their options. They were unsure about whether to go with candidate A or candidate B. Now, during that period, it would have been very easy for it to become a rivalry between myself and Mark. Political, disruptive, dysfunctional behavior, having different parts of the organization take sides with different parts of different candidates. You do see that. We thought that would be distasteful and unproductive. And our styles and our skills were very different. So while we were both qualified, we were just very different choices for the board. So it wasn't going to be driven by those kind of variables anyway. Plus, we collaborated very well together. We trusted each other. We enjoyed working together. And while we certainly had ambitious aspects to us, our view in this case was, let's just let it take its course, be our best self, and see how it unfolds. And I think people around us in our own organization, not much less external to Pru, were kind of amazed by this. And maybe we're in disbelief in the early phases of this. We came to realize this wasn't a put on. We totally meant it. And in fact, we were very clear we meant that vis-a-vis the behavior of anyone else in the organization. Now, shortly before the decision was made, Mark and I had a glass of wine together and had a really interesting discussion that we never had specifically had before that was quite remarkable. We've discovered in that brief moment that we landed at the same place, which was either way, we're in. Let's go. Once the decision's made, let's embrace it, and let's just get going. We'll accomplish more. We'll be better for it. We'll have more fun. Now, the board was initially concerned about flight risk with Mark. He was an obvious CEO candidate for opportunities elsewhere. And oftentimes, someone like me would encourage that to eliminate any threat. In the event that I would stumble, the board would have a handy substitute. My recommendation on this was very, very different, which was, let's elevate Mark to become vice chairman of Pru. Let's pay him 85% of what you pay me, which was unheard of to do, and leave the rest to me and Mark to sort out. The board totally supported that, though they were skeptical that it would work. It's great if it happens, but is this realistic? And of course, there is also no question that the buck ultimately stopped with me, but there's also no question the regard that I and others had for Mark, and that was reflected in the scope and the nature of his role. And frankly, he was better than me at a lot of things. And we reflected that in how we worked. We didn't trip over each other. We had very good communication, and we worked really, really well together. And that defined a partnership of the two of us in our respective roles for the next 11 years. It also set an expectation within the organization around an intolerance for politics, an expectation of collaboration, and the notion of surrounding yourself with the best people, and that actions versus words, the old Aristotle thought process, made that a very clear point. When I retired 11 years later, it was intentionally staggered. Mark and I debated the sequence of who goes first, and he retired 9 months after me. P.S. When we retired, there were two people chosen in the same respective roles, and both of them could have been CEOs either at Pru or elsewhere, and they remain in place. They saw how it worked, and they wanted to emulate it.
Wow, isn't an amazing set of insights from John there? I want to highlight a few things from there, a few things that just jump out at me. The first is the idea that rising to the top of an organization, and the top could be CEO or it could be other positions near the top, but kind of rising up in the organization, saying it's not a dog-eat-dog style, was not full of internal politics. I'm a huge fan of the TV show Succession. I think the show is absolutely fascinating. I also would be horrified if I thought that most businesses really worked that way. I'm sure there are some. It would make me sad to know what they are. But it's kind of a free from politics discussion. Wasn't dog eat dog, and I've heard this from other executives that the way you get ahead in business is by being an authentic, genuine, good person. And when you make deals with people, you try to get a good deal, but you really want the other person to get a good deal too, so that you can continue the relationship. The second thing that I think is incredibly important for people to learn from this is the part where John was mentioning how the board was deciding between him and this other potential person for CEO, and that they had incredibly different styles. So at that point, really, there wasn't very much that either could probably do to influence the role. The board was going to have some idea of, at this moment in time, who do we want to hire based on what we need and based on who these people are. So I think the quote was, it's really out of our hands. And I think that's an important thing for anybody who's on the job market to think about and to keep in the back of their mind. If you're interviewing for a position, do your best, put your best foot forward, explain who you are. If you want the role, explain why you want the role, but understand there are a lot of reasons why somebody might be hired over you that don't have anything to do with whether you're good or not good. It's just the fit at that particular point in time for the company. And you could have two people who are equally amazing, but they different strengths in different areas. And that will often make the decision. And so it's tough. Being on a job market and being rejected can be tough, but understand that a lot of the time they might have thought you were amazing. It's just this other person had some trait that was different, and we all have different traits, and that's why they were chosen. The third thing that I think was really worth highlighting, third point, is how John, who's the CEO of Prudential, right? This is an amazingly powerful role, openly and matter-of-factly admitted that his colleague could do a number of things better than he could. And he said that without any sort of, it wasn't even a big statement. He could do a lot of things better than me. I think that's really powerful for everybody to understand in leadership roles, is to find really good people and understand that they are going to have some skill sets that you don't have, and rely on your teammates in order to advance the organization. So hope you enjoyed the clip. I found it very powerful myself. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.